Welcome to Module 2 of this training program, Appointment and Duties of Chief Invigilators. My name is Mary Smith. I work at the DHET as the Assistant Director for Examinations Management and Monitoring, and I'm going to take you through the aspects of this course. The first topic that we will address is the appointment and duties of the Chief Invigilator and or the Deputy Chief Invigilator. The principal appoints on an annual basis the head of the campus or institution, campus manager, as Chief Invigilator in accordance with the requirements of the department. However, any competent college senior lecturer or office-based educator may also be approved for appointment as a Chief Invigilator in exceptional cases. To be valid, these appointments must be in writing from the principal. The Chief Invigilator may delegate his or her power in writing to a Deputy Chief Invigilator if he or she cannot fulfill his or her duties. Chief Invigilators must be trained by the National DHET on a regular basis. They must receive written confirmation that they have been trained as such. The Chief Invigilators and the Deputy Chief Invigilators must have a thorough knowledge of the procedures, rules and regulations regarding the examinations. Let us now look at the main duties of the Chief Invigilator or Deputy Chief Invigilators. The Chief Invigilator is fully responsible and therefore accountable for the exam conducted at the examination center. He or she must be present at the exam center for the duration of every examination session. The Chief Invigilator must identify invigilators at least 30 days before each exam and ensure that they are trained and formally appoint them in writing. In short, the Chief Invigilator should select and appoint invigilators. It must be formalized and in writing. Train all invigilators before the examinations begin. That is actually what we are busy with now. Draw up invigilation and relief invigilation timetables and submit these for approval to the college principal or CEO. See to the preparation and readiness of the exam venues and the campus as such. Might also act as the main relief invigilator for 20 minutes during longer sessions. Make sure that there are no unauthorized persons in and around the exam venues. Draw up a seating plan indicating the examination venues with the desk arrangement and the exam numbers of students. A copy of these seating plans must be submitted to the regional DHET offices for each exam question paper written. Before the examination question papers are dispatched to the examination room, the Chief Invigilator should ascertain that the examination question paper is correct according to the time and date specified on the exam timetable. For example, paper number, language, etc. Chief Invigilators must ensure that all students are advised timeously of requisites such as rulers, drawing instruments, computers, and calculators, etc., to be used in the examination of specific subjects. This information could be made available to students during a pre-exam information meeting for students. It is also good to provide the information in a hard copy format to the students.
And then we've conducted an exam meeting with the student, and we have made a summary of what was said during the exam meeting, and we've attached it to the exam permits of the students so that they cannot say they didn't know about any process that was explained to those who attended the meeting.
The Chief Invigilator must also ensure that all equipment, for example, computers, printers, drawing boards, etc., as well as lights, desks and chairs to be used by students, are serviced timelessly and are in perfect working condition and available at the exam venue on the day of the exam. The Chief Invigilator should visit the exam rooms frequently during each session and make sure that a high standard of invigilation is maintained. He or she should be available at all times to assist. Once the session has ended, the Chief Invigilator should ensure that scripts are properly batched and packed according to the students' examination numbers. The mark sheet belonging to a certain batch of scripts must be included with that batch. The collection of scripts and the delivery of scripts to the exam center for marking is also the responsibility of the Chief Invigilator. He or she should verify the scripts in accordance with the mark sheet for that group.
082 940 299 940 94060 178 9087 9407 11 05 9501 25006 8085 84 sorry.
Sign this one.
I'm going to give you one, okay, 12, 15.
Let's do office practice.
Office practice, okay.
Go waste the...
With that, we are almost at the end of this session. We have briefly touched on the roles and responsibilities of the Chief Invigilator. We will finish off the session with a plenary session on the duties of the Chief Invigilator. There is, however, one last short topic to be completed as part of this session. Activities to be completed longer than 30 days before the start of the exam. This is very important process of obtaining permission in time to allow certain special arrangements for students with special needs. There are specific guidelines to follow when preparing for exams if there is a learner with special needs. This mainly relates to students with a learning difficulty, speaking or hearing difficulty, or a student with a visual difficulty. These guidelines are elaborated on in the White Paper 6 on Special Needs Education, Building an Inclusive Education and Training System, 2001. The college must, at least 30 days before an examination, apply to the National DHET offices for special assistance for the student. All the necessary proof, such as medical reports, certificates, and a proper motivation by the college must be submitted as part of the application. Depending on the nature of the disability, the college could usually request 15 minutes per hour extra time for the candidate to complete the examination. Approval must also be obtained for candidates who require eminences, that is a person required to do the writing or reading on behalf of a student. Assistance can be rendered by utilizing an independent party on behalf of the candidate to either read the questions and write the answers down, which must be provided by the candidate. Only substantiated applications accompanied by a medical report may be considered. Where a college has candidates involved in a timetable clash, that is, where the candidates are required to write 2 examinations at the same time, the head of the institution or campus must notify the Chief Directorate, National Exams and Assessment of the clash. The Chief Invigilator or campus manager must request in writing on the college letterhead a concession for the deviation and provide the necessary details. This should be done at least 30 days before the commencement of the first of the examination. And finally, where a candidate or candidates are required to write at another site which is not situated at the examination center because of a shortage of venues or equipment, the head of the institution or campus manager must request permission from the Chief Directorate, National Exams and Assessment for the deviation of site, indicating the new site, and if it is not part of an accredited public college site, it must be accompanied by an occupational health and safety and fire compliance certificate. For the timetable clash, the subject with more candidates must be written first and at the set time according to the exam's timetable. At the end of the first examination, the affected candidates must immediately be separated from other candidates and granted an opportunity to rest for 30 minutes, but be kept under the close supervision of an invigilator during this period. During the rest period, the candidates must under no circumstances be granted access to any kind of telephone or be allowed to make contact with any other candidates or subject lecturers, irrespective of whether the other candidates or subject lecturers have nothing to do with the second subject being written. As a summary and the final activity of this session, we are going to end the session with a brief plenary discussion. You have 15 minutes to work up a list of the roles and responsibilities of a Chief Invigilator or Deputy Chief Invigilator. Think about the Chief Invigilator or Deputy Chief Invigilator at your specific campus and what he or she does in preparation for the exams and during the conduct of the examination. Your facilitator will facilitate the 10-minute feedback session. He or she will jot down these on a flip chart and forward a copy to the LSS Coordination Office. Please pause the video now. Thank you. This is the end of this session.